My name's Rob. I've been involved with altitude training now from the UK probably about 10 years. But since I moved to Brisbane 3 years ago, I've been quite heavily involved with ATS, the Altitude Technology Systems guys. We started ATS in Brisbane, and we had a facility in the West End, a little cliquey area in the West End of the city, a little boutique studio where we got people doing altitude training. And we went from there to a company called Executive Excellence, who were mainly into mountaineering and preparing people for things like the Kokoda Trail, Kilimanjaro, Everest, and that's where I really got heavily involved with altitude training. And I've been working there now for around 18 months, and in the last 18 months I've had over 200 clients prepare for different treks, trails and adventures. Originally, back in the UK, I worked as a sports therapist and I worked in cardiac rehabilitation. The altitude training side of things I came across through my sport, which was the sport of cycling. And I've been involved with cycling now since I was around 12 years old. I've ridden professionally as a cyclist, and we use every edge possible to gain the advantage on our competitors, and that's where altitude training first came with me. What we're trying to do is we're trying to cope with reduced oxygen. So the first thing that happens when we reduce our oxygen that we're breathing is the brain basically says, hey, you know, you're going into low oxygen, let's see what we can do. We'll speed up the heart rate, okay, we'll speed up your breathing rate, we'll try and get that blood pump into the muscles. There's also a lot of hormonal changes that occur when you first go low with oxygen, and one of the things that they found recently is this release of HIF1, hypoxic inducible factor 1. Okay, so that actually triggers loads of hormonal changes within the body. Okay, it's said that it releases testosterone, growth hormone. It helps balance blood sugar by this GLUT4, which is a transporter of glucose. So it can actually help in theory, help with diabetes. Okay, so all of these hormonal triggers occur quite quickly as soon as you go into the chamber. Okay, they're quite acute changes that happen fairly quickly. Okay.
And so that'd be after one session or a block of 4 weeks, or?
As soon as you hit the chamber and go low oxygen, that initial hormonal change happens straight away, and your metabolism is raised for at least 15 hours post training. So that's a fact that happens straight away. The long-term effects, and I think that comes on a little bit further up the line here, the long-term effects are like the increased blood count. Okay, so a lot of people have researched this simulated altitude training. Have always looked at the hematological side of things. They've always got an athlete or a member of the general public, trained them in the chamber for say 6 weeks, or say done the blood test, trained them in the chamber, done another blood test, and looked at the results and said, inconclusive, hardly any change. It doesn't work. Okay. But the athlete is performing at a better level, so how can that be? It's because they've always looked at the blood and they haven't really looked at the other sides of altitude training. Okay? The hormonal side of things, the transfer of gases side of things. So it's not all about the blood, although that is a very big part of altitude training. You know, 6 to 12 months down the line post-altitude training, if you continue doing this type of training, it gets more and more effective. Okay? So what we do initially and the results we get initially are great, but you're talking 2 or 3 years down the line, the results are absolutely fantastic. Okay? Athletes have been doing this for years, and it's usually in a 3-yearly cycle, working towards the Olympics. If you've only got 40 minutes in your lunch hour to train at altitude, it's going to be 25% more productive or more. You'll burn calories for longer. Okay, that's a great one. I've seen a change in every single person that I've worked with. Everyone's been a positive change. It's either a lower heart rate for the same workload, or a higher workload for the same sort of tolerance test in every single person, and everyone I've worked with has shown a massive improvement, a lower heart rate for the same workload. That you would see in 6 weeks.